Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
What's something scary that's happened to you at your job? Be night auditor at motel built in early 1800s. Knew this shit had to be haunted based on common sense. Employees tell me creepy stories. Bouncing ball noises. Lights flickering. Child laughter. The usual typical ghost story bull that kind of makes you cringe. One employee had quite a different story though. Tells me story. Major chills. ... And then my first night at the motel began. Alone. And my god, I wasn't ready for this shit. At work right now, alone as usual, and have to take a break due to major goosebumps. Constantly feel like I'm being watched. Chick begins telling me story of her experience. One duty at motel is going in the back to the cold ass walk-in freezer and setting out frozen dough for the cooks that one in the morning. It's scary as shit back there. It's a huge kitchen with doors off to the side for the freezer and one as a pantry. Freezer stinks like trash can. Freezer is cold as balls. Freezer sucks. So, she walks into the freezer to grab the bags of dough. Suddenly, heavy ass metal freezer door slams shut behind her. WTF. Tar. Says she was stunned for a minute, just wondering WTF, walks over to freezer door. Won't open. Worst fucking nightmare coming to fruition. Is this real life? She begins banging on the door, trying to get it open. Keep in mind, no one is at the front desk, which means someone could walk in and take the register or steal shit. She would lose her job, plus being stuck in a fucking freezer would be shitty. Continues banging on door. Panic mode activated. She even showed me where she dented the inside of the freezer door. Suddenly, it sounds like someone outside of freezer door. Hey, can you open the door please? It's stuck. And that's when it spoke, in a creepy ass lullaby-like voice. Over and over again she hears, I know you're in there, I know you're in there. Said she was confused and backed away from the door. Suddenly, door starts shaking like a motherfucker, like something is trying to get in with her. She said she literally started to cry at this point. Door stops shaking. Silence for a bit, but she's not taking her eyes off the door. At this point, she's scared of the door opening, would rather freeze to death. Gets out phone. As soon as she sends text to friend to come to the motel, the door opens halfway. Shits bricks. Gains enough courage to look out. Nothing. Scared something is hiding behind door. Begins to walk out slowly. Looks behind door. Nothing. Begins to walk out of kitchen. Fuck the dough. Suddenly, starts hearing banging and shit behind her, like something is hitting the pots and pans. Doesn't even look. Bolts for front desk. Lights even start flickering, but that wasn't slowing her down, but said she was ungodly scared the lights would go out for good. Makes it to front desk. Continues running. Makes it outside. Stops out front of the motel and watches the front door as if she was expecting to see something walking around in there, or come toward the door. Friends calls wondering WTF, waits outside the motel until her friend makes it there. Makes friend talk to her the whole time until she got to the motel. Pays friend half of her shift money just to stay there with her until relief came. So that's the awesome story I was told on my first day at this job. Lucky me. But still didn't prepare me for the shit that goes on here.
I work at a petrol station that's like 30 plus years old, and fucking hell, this whole place is just nope fuel. Graveyard shift. Late summer, misty rain and fog. Gets really thick. Literally can't see the pumps, it's that thick. Little weird, whatever. Beep. Beep. Console makes noise when someone picks up a pump. Look at screen, every pump is lit up. It's 3:30 a.m. Look out, still can't see pumps. Looks back at screen, all pumps off again. Plenty more. Not supernatural, but I got scared the fuck later that morning when a guy ran straight at the door and slammed right into it whilst I was beside it restocking when it didn't open.
I have a story for you. Be me. Work at a cafe, chocolate place out in the country, on a farm. Quiet area, we serve homemade stuff. We normally get a lot of old people, especially during the winters. Summers are pretty silent. I do register, serving, cooking. Anything that needs doing really. It's not unusual to get groups of people that come regularly, but there was this real strange group of ladies. The Volunteer Mothers for Proper Education, or VMPE. Self-important over 40-year-olds who write letters and other stuff to schools, demanding changes. All had the same bumper sticker with their little committee logo, which was the group initials on a set of stairs, black on white. They had 10 members. They first started coming in 2009. Seemed pretty normal at first, but we started to notice weird patterns. They all dressed similarly, with cardigans, long dresses and tightly done hair. Not that strange, but they never dressed individually at all. They always ordered the same thing as the head lady, let's call her the controller. The controller seemed to be the one who organized everything, planned their little committee discussions and all that. The strictest woman I've ever seen. Spoke little, never looked like she smiled once in her life. This group always came in at exactly 2:49 on the dot, and got their food at around 3 o'clock. Every day they'd order something different, but always the same as what the controller had chosen. Paid with their own money. One day one of the ladies in the committee decided she didn't feel like the food the controller had ordered. The controller gave her this death stare. I've never seen someone look so angry. The other lady immediately shrinks away. She orders last, getting the same thing as the controller. The group comes back the next day, but there are only 9 members this time. The lady who wanted something else was gone, completely missing. We never saw her again. They come back every day and order the same thing. Again and again. One day there was an accident. 2011. This big metal decorative windmill next to the cafe collapsed and broke part of the roof. We have to close for the week. But it's 3:50. The controller demands the group be served regardless. We're all trying to get everyone out because there was a worry that the windmill could catch fire because the neon sign stuck to it had smashed. I, of course, have to give the group their money back and refuse service. I get fucking death stared down by the controller. Beady, hate-filled little eyes. Unbelievably dark. They leave, never come back. Not the endo fit. Wave. One day we get 9 angry, abusive reviews on site. All of them claiming abuse, harassment and other such BS. Store front windows got scratched up with keys one day. No real proof to convict anyone, but I'm pretty damn sure it was one of them. This goes on. Group keeps spreading bad rumors about our cafe, we heard it through confused customers. Bogus delivery orders, even a false police report one day. Told us a lady claimed we dealt hero under the counter, easily proven untrue. Eventually they seemed to give up, never see them again. A little bit later I heard from a friend who works at a diner on the highway about a similar incident with the group. But they only had 8 members as far as he saw. 2015, few weeks ago. Hadn't seen anything involving that group for years now. Completely forgot until I saw a bumper sticker. VMPE started seeing their group name everywhere. Heard they got a new office in the town center, funding community events and other such stuff. Also heard the mayor's wife had joined their group. Never saw the original 9 ladies again, except for the controller. She came back to our cafe. Acted like she didn't know us, asked to put up a flyer on our window. We say sure. She does so and leaves. Flyer is for some school fundraiser thing. I was pretty terrified when I saw her, to be honest. She looked like 90 now, but she was only like 50 in 2011. She doesn't look so strict and angry anymore. She looked tired. Really, really tired. I looked at the flyer from outside and saw her get into her car just outside the building and drive off. She's driving a ute now. Utility vehicle, like a pickup for non-Australians. It's covered in mud and shit, and battered as hell. She used to drive a spotless red sedan. The back of the ute is filled with rope, shovels and a few filled trash bags. Bumper sticker is on the back window, VMPE, never saw the lady again. I still have no idea what to think, but it's left me kind of scared. I'll post again if I find out anything else weird about the VMPE ladies.
Aussie here, never heard of this group or anything like that. Then again, I never really lived out in the country and moved to a capital city a year ago.
I live in a real country-ass town, no real connection to the city. And they don't have a website. I think they're still a pretty small group who mostly invite mums and such. I've got a picture of the front of their office, and one of their posters, which I took for that diner friend I mentioned.
But what is the point of that flyer? There's no phone number or anything, is there? I don't see one. How bizarre. Sounds like a weird little cult. To be honest, though I'm a long-time fan of X and stuff, I'm not a big believer in stuff like cults and all that, but this group's always been weird. I don't actually know if they have a phone number. I can't find one. Here's another picture from a while ago, outside a high school. I looked through my camera cards from last year and found an ad they had up on the metal boards they put around the football pitches. I've blocked out the address for obvious reasons. There's something about the way they word these things that's hella creepy.
Work in grocery store as cashier in high school. Have bagger named Alberto, in his early 70s, Colombian. We communicate with really up Spanglish because his English is shit and my Spanish is barely better, but he's really nice and always insists that the cashiers call him Tio. Go on trip with family and don't work for 2 weeks one summer, come back to a 12-hour, 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift because of 4th of July and people calling in sick to avoid working on the holiday. Always busy as fuck on holidays, always. Exhausted toward end of shift, taking garbage to garbage chute in back. Around 12:45, store closes in 15 minutes. Back of store is spoopy as shit at night. Lights are dim, it smells horrible, and there's all kinds of weird rattling, crackling noises. Alberto comes from around the corner as I'm fighting the bag down the chute with the stick we use, and I almost piss my pants. Tell him not to sneak up on me like that and he laughs, lectures me about being back there so late by myself, that all kinds of terrible things happen to young ladies alone and I should be more aware. The only thing back here are rats, Tio. I'll be okay. Go back to the front and ask the assistant manager why they've got Alberto working in the back of the store tonight. Guy gives me a funny look and informs me that Alberto had a heart attack at home a week prior and had died on the way to the hospital. Asks me if I want to close out a few minutes early, if I'm that tired. Never go to the back of the store alone at night again.
This happened about 20 years ago. Yes, I am very old. Be me, 19, working after college for a few years doing manual labor. Work for a drainage company, digging by hand on difficult, small jobs, most of the time. One job I had to dig out a half-finished septic tank which had been started by some monks just prior to World War II in a small village in Yorkshire, UK. First day on the job, I go on my own. Get to the job, at back of a church, see a monk digging in one corner, I say hello, he doesn't even reply. I figure silence vow or some shit. After an hour or two, go to local shop for chocolate and coke. Come back and monk has gone, and it looks like the arsehole has even filled in the hole he was digging, and even put the grass turf back on top. Think to myself what an arsehole he was, then go about my day. Next day boss comes to see me, I comment to boss on the monk. He tells me monastery closed in 1952. We go look at where the monk was digging, the ground had not been disturbed in years. Boss thought I had been drinking. I saw what I saw. Monk was hooded, I never saw his face.
Corrections officer here. The prison I work at used to be a reformatory school for wayward boys back in the early 20th century. I have one too spoopy story that I still can't explain. Get stuck working first tour 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift in the oldest part of the prison, built in 1901. Roughly 0230, trying not to nod the fuck out in the office. Bunch of inmates start screaming at the end of the block. The fuck? Go down and ask what the fuck they're doing. CO, there's somebody out there. Huh. Inmates in cells next to him tell me there's a motherfucker out there with no face. Tell them to calm the fuck down and tell me what's going on. They claim that they heard someone whispering to themselves. When they looked up from their beds, they saw someone walking out in front of the cells in a long coat, and when he turned and looked at them, he had no face. Two things spring to mind. Either one, they're trying to fuck with me, but they do seem kind of worried, or two, an inmate is walking around outside his cell. Get flashlight, do another count. All inmates accounted for. Get on telephone and call the second officer to see if he was on the block. Nope, he's still in the break room. At this point I'm tired from working a double and pissed that these inmates are playing games, about to go scream at them. As I'm exiting the office, notice movement on one of the upper tiers. Point my flashlight up near the staircase and definitely see the tail end of somebody moving out of my light on the upper tier. Pull my baton out of holster and book it to the staircase, yelling at them to stop. Get to the top with baton out, hand ready to drop flashlight, and hit the alarm button on my radio if I get jumped. Walk up and down the upper tier block looking for this fucking inmate person. Now the way this block is laid out is that on each of the 4 tiers, there's a locked gate that leads to a catwalk in the middle, so you can observe each cell through a small peep window in the back of the cell. See crudely made drawing. Check gate, still locked. Shine light down catwalk, nothing. Start making my way upstairs to check the uppermost tier when my office door slams shut. Book it back down to the office, check everywhere in there including both bathrooms and refrigerator, fucking nothing. Decide I've had enough of this shit, call my second officer back down to the block, and we start scouring every inch of that block looking for this fucking person before I report this to the sergeant. Do a count of every inmate on every tier, thoroughly check everywhere except the catwalks since you can shine a light down it and illuminate the entire thing. This fact is important, everything seems to check out. At this point we go back to the office and are on edge. We have no idea if there's an inmate out there trying to plot an escape, or if someone actually broke into the fucking prison or what. Thankfully the rest of the night goes uneventful. However, fast forward to 6 a.m., wake up call. Do my go around taking attendance for morning chow. Inmates on the second tier ask me why the fuck I was walking the catwalk at 5 in the morning. What? Inmates swear they saw somebody walk by the peep ports in their cells where the catwalk would be and could hear the person talking to themselves. They assumed it was me. That's pretty much the end of it. The inmates who originally saw the person now claim their block is haunted and scare the shit out of the other inmates with it. Thank fuck I haven't had to work in that block since then. I have no explanation as to what happened that night, be it some ghost or my own sleep-deprived mind toying with me. Prison Break 2015. Some guy break out of his cell, trying to map out his block to save other prison mate before he escape. He go back and hide in his own cell, pretend nothing happened, asleep. Actually he is now free to go as he wish. His cell door has been unlocked. Eventually when he does escape, whoever is on shift will be forced to take responsibility. Don't take that block again. Anon. Mumbling to himself because he has to count the approximate distance, 1 foot, 2 foot, etc. IALOS has some nope story. I work at a construction site. One day, PIC-related happened when I show up at work at 11 a.m. Jesus fucking Christ, these illegal immigrant idiots. Trust me, that shit was absolutely on my mind. But there's no way an inmate could possibly open the amount of gates that would be needed to do what they did. That particular block is so old that every single door creaks open and it echoes throughout the block. This was last summer, so there's been plenty of cell frisks and block turnovers since then, and somebody would have definitely found something like a way for an inmate to leave his cell. I can say with absolutely certainty that it was not an inmate.
Work as doctor's office manager. Staying late trying to update new software. Phone rings. The exchange can get it, but I decide to pick it up on a whim. It is a patient canceling the next day's appointment. I am surprised, he has a number of severe conditions in need of monitoring. Reschedule? Man replies with amusement, "Oh no, that's quite unnecessary. I won't be seeing you for a long time. Weird. Guess I will call him in the morning to check again." Next morning, first thing I see laying in the fax machine is a copy of that patient's death certificate. Time of death was almost an hour before I spoke with him. Looking at the records, it seemed he had arrived unconscious at the hospital the morning before the call and never regained consciousness and was removed from life support. It was almost an hour later we spoke. Look at call records to see where the call was from, as I assumed it was a prank. Records show no call, although I did cancel his appointment just at that time. 3 spooky 5 me. Then again, he sounded almost dreamily serene, and that is comforting. Our office is located in an old rural hospital, so there is all sorts of creepy shit. But that's my only first-hand experience. We also have a crazed OB nurse ghost and a cafeteria poltergeist. The cafeteria poltergeist just causes inexplicable messes and high staff turnover rate. It is blamed for all manner of spillage and glassware breakage. The 2 notable examples I can think of that are more interesting is that it apparently hates lima beans, and any cans of lima beans delivered will not stay in the cafeteria overnight. They're found tossed down staircases, allegedly. All I can say is they never order or serve lima beans. And there was also a cafeteria worker who quit because it allegedly kept pelting her with an industrial-size can of peaches. She seemed like a level-headed lady otherwise. The OB nurse ghost is most terrifying, but we rarely even have births here, and also it is mostly hearsay from nurses. It is a very old hospital, and it is said this OB nurse is from the days where women gave birth under twilight sleep. You know scopolamine, which is creepy enough on its own actually, you should read about it. Anyhow, apparently women giving birth in the ward have reported feeling as though they were held down and seeing the apparition of an older matron-type lady, and if they struggle or scream she yells at them, "Go to sleep, you're killing your baby. You're killing your baby." The OB nurses just generally try to make sure the mom isn't left alone too long.
They say that other little things happen about the nursery too, like carts moving, and sometimes they say they see her turning around corners.
This thread reminded me of my last job, was a bakery that's been owned by the family for a long-ass time. The boss really hated paranormal shit, so we weren't allowed to talk about ghosts or whatever at work. One of the managers had worked there a long time and was the only person who would talk, mostly in secret, about what goes on there. Be working at this bakery, heard stories from manager, never experienced anything weird myself. I'll start with the story she told me, that I kind of disregarded because I was new and thought I was being fucked with. Manager comes into work really early to prepare orders and get the bakery spruced up for opening. We open at 7 a.m., is in the back packaging orders. Here's knocking on front door. Goes out to tell person we don't open for a little while longer. Nobody is there. Okay, must have left. Goes to the back and continues packing orders. Knocking on back door, the one that goes into the alley. Must be delivery of supplies? Opens the door, regular customer standing there. Yeah, I knocked on the front door to see if I can pick up my things early, and a blonde girl pointed to the back door. Manager is the only person there. Confusion ensues. Customer wonders who the new girl is. Never figured it out. That customer still comes into this day too. And now for my own experiences. Been working at the bakery for a while now, get close to the managers and working my way up. Allowed to do stuff now that doesn't involve standing at the cash register for 8 hours straight. Loving every minute of it. In the basement checking supplies, creepy dank 100-plus-year-old building. Start to feel creeped out, brush it off. Hear things moving around. Surprises me and I drop my pen. Pen rolls under a shelf. Lol, no way I'm getting down on this nasty ass ground to get a pen. Standing there, debating whether or not to just go all the way back upstairs to get another pen. Suddenly something hits my shoe. Pen was pushed back out from under the shelf. Thanks Ghost, won't have to make another trip up all those stairs. That was my first experience. I was sort of spooked but not enough to run out of the basement hyperventilating. Experiences just got weirder from then on, I guess. In the back where the bakers create their delicious masterpieces. Bakers already went home, so I'm doing some dishes and wiping down workstations. Huge industrial dishwasher, the one I'm not allowed to use. I wash utensils using the regular sink, turns on, starts spraying water out of a hose thing on the side. Oh shit, I didn't do it. Manager hears the dishwasher and runs back yelling. WTF Anon, you can't use that, I'll get in so much trouble with passive-aggressive boss. I didn't touch it, I swear I don't even know how to work it, or turn it off. Manager turns off dishwashing machine and glares at me. Apologize but insist it wasn't me. That night she watches security footage. Apologizes the next morning, says could be that the cleaning boys left it on or something or other. Don't talk about it again, don't tell boss. Move on with life. Late in the day, in the back making chocolate-dipped pretzels. Alone in the back, as usual. Hanging utensils start clanging. Like crazy. Stop, wash hands, stop them from clanging. Hoping it was just the air turning on and making a strong gust of wind. What am I thinking, there is no air conditioning in the back. Continue making pretzels. Keep hearing things, creaks and rattles. Too spooked to make sense of any of it. And another story, same scenario. In back making pretzels. See only other blonde coworker walk into the bathroom. Yell from across the room if she's heading out. We share a drawer on the cash register, if she leaves, I got to count money before I go, no response. I guess it's awkward that I'm yelling to her through the bathroom door. Another 20 minutes pass, don't see her leave the bathroom. Knock on door, it's slightly open, lights are off. Nobody in there. Must have snuck out? Go to the front and ask if she left already. She wasn't working that day. Nobody else is blonde except for me. Girl that walked into the bathroom was definitely blonde. Officially creeped out by the back of the bakery. One that I experienced with my manager. In the freezer area, doing supplies. Bunch of heavy boxes filled with ingredients, flour, sugar, etc. Huge 40 pounds bags of ingredients inside these boxes. Manager is looking over my list to see if we got everything, suddenly box is thrown on the floor. Broke open bag of flour on the floor. Manager and I look at each other and stare. Manager starts kind of laughing. I'm still in shock. We go out and smoke a cigarette together. Neither of us know what to tell boss. Come to think of it, the paranormal shit really brought me and my manager close together. She was like an aunt, I guess. Every other girl hated her, and she hated everyone else, but we got along great. Now for the front of the bakery. Only me and the other blonde girl, well call her Jay, working up front, late in the day so it's really slow. Cool girl, I enjoy working with her. Standing at the counter bullshitting. Suddenly pie slides off the shelf, lands face down. Huge mess, waste of a pie. Neither of us were near it or the shelf. Both of us ignore the fact that it ever happened. Then, it started happening more often. Sometimes with one or two other girls working. Me and Jay start to get spooked, other girls think we're messing with them. Almost every day, pie gets pushed off the shelf. Jay and I start keeping a tiny piece of paper in the register recording the time that it happens. Happens at nearly the same time every time. Around 2:40 to 3 p.m. Manager doesn't question it. Boss finds our piece of paper in the register. Asks what it's about. Reluctantly tell her what the times written on paper are for. She tells us, I'm tired of this ghost shit, no more or you're done. Never speak of it again, the pies continue to fall off shelf. This is completely irrelevant to the paranormal stuff, still creepy. Have a group of regulars, come in at least 3 times a month. We call them the circus. Huge older guy, always looks angry, like 7 feet tall. Huge. What we assume to be his wife, tiny frail little old lady. Wears bright eye makeup, dresses weird, hard to talk to. Sort of like she's constantly dazed. I want to think it's just her age, but the way her husband treats her even in public makes me think otherwise. Tells her to shut up, grabs her, tells her what she can't eat. The last guy is completely foreign. Turkish. I don't know, I'm bad at that. I guess lives with them. Always asks the price of every single thing in the store, buys the same thing every time anyway. They all smell absolutely disgusting, like cat piss and garbage. Drive a tiny little old-fashioned taxi. How do they all fit? Nobody knows who they are or where they're from. One of the girls that worked there had a problem with the big dude. He always creeped her out, would tell her how beautiful her insert weird body part here is. He eventually started waiting for her to get off work and told her that his son would love her. He brought her gifts, expensive ones. Jewelry, that sort of thing. Begged for her, she was 17 at the time, to go out with his son who was in his 30s. She started hiding from them every time we saw that taxi, would run to the back. We told the group that she quit, and yet every time they come in, he asks about her and waits around for her.
This is the story of Hope. I worked at a pseudo-country club restaurant for 2 years. A woman who worked there named Hope had died about 8 or 9 years ago. This is a collection of experiences from my coworkers and managers. Bro server. Preparing for a small banquet to be held in the main dining room. Dining room has a small stage used for karaoke, and the occasional band behind stage is a small dimly lit room used to store portable tables, chairs, heat lamps, and also the circuit boards. Bro server goes to get a heat lamp for the banquet, and as he goes to leave, he notices the door is locked. Pretty basic spooky except for the fact the door handle is permanently fixed open. Bro server is let out about 2 minutes later by other server. Company holds memorial for Hope after her death. Has a commemorative plaque with her uniform and a picture of her placed above the fireplace. New general manager comes in and demands it taken down after it being up there for 2 years. Server manager won't do it. Too spooked. General manager removes plaque himself and puts it in the farthest corner of the basement. That same day 30 or so customers and staff witness all the salt and pepper shakers fall off a line of unoccupied tables. Bartender closing for the night. Last thing to turn off when done is the TV. So she can see her way around. Goes to manager office to fill out a report and heads home. Driving away and she sees the TV is on. Walk back in and turn it off. As she drives away again the TV turns back on. Fool me once. JPG. Rush home and never turn the TV off at night again. This one is more recent. I came into work right after it happened to the dishwasher. Be setting up for lunch buffet. Generally dicking around and exploring the restaurant. Checks out the room behind the stage. Just looking around at the shit tin there. Cold chill. Turn around and see a woman's leg as she walks out to the stage and dining room. Brushes it off as the older prep lady setting up. No one in the dining room. Anyone else that had an occurrence knew the story of Hope. This guy didn't. Manager sits us down one day and retells the whole story of Hope after the dishwasher mentions what he saw. Staff would always mention feeling a presence every so often, especially the staff who knew her. Every night after work, I'd tell Hope good night. TV turns off as I drive out of the parking lot.
Me, be 14 years old, volunteering at local museum so I can graduate high school. Museum is an old marble building on a historic street corner in downtown Hagerstown. The building is at least as old as the city, early 1800s. There are huge, 2-ton vaults on the main and sub-floors. Apparently it used to be a bank. There's an elevator that stops on all floors. It gets used often because the owner is frail. Shift starts at 8 a.m. and goes to 5 p.m. when the museum closes. My job is basically janitorial in nature. Start in the Japanese exhibit, clean the glass. Go to the back, Titanic exhibit, clean the glass. I am the resident glasshole. Nothing too spoopy about the place. Love the ship exhibit, kind of put off by the upstairs exhibits because of all the dark, unlit corners. Only tolerable because there's televisions on up there, 24/7. Cannot stand the downstairs for shit. Dark, humid, roaches everywhere. Assorted curios gather inches of dust, sitting there for years. Carpet hasn't been replaced since the building was built. Freaky shit. So, here's my first tale for you. Owner of museum actually rents the place from some mega corporation. Pays lease on it every month. Museum barely earns her enough to cover the bills. At least one light is always out because of the stretched budget. Owner will actually take light bulbs out of the socket in her house to replace the ones at the museum forward to day of the spook. Light goes out in party room upstairs. Customer comes down complaining his child is sitting in the dark on his birthday. Owner says she'll deal with it. By that I guess she meant she'll find someone to deal with it. She turns to me as I walk by. Anon, come here a moment, drop the cleaner here with me. Now, go downstairs and fetch a 60-watt out of the box in the back vault. Bring it to the birthday room upstairs, please. Complain like a 14-year-old, because I am. She scolds me and tells me I'm only making it harder on myself, whatever the fuck that means. Bitch that she should have kept the box upstairs, behind the register. Now, for those of us who've never been in an old vault, let me explain a few things. This vault was not simply the huge-ass circular door we've all seen in cartoons. It's a huge-ass circular door, which leads into a bare concrete room. After this room there's another room, ceiling as high as all 3 fucking stories to this building, with every inch lined with cold metal account boxes. And it's pitch black back there. Although electricity existed back then, no electric leads were placed in the vault, to reduce chance of fire destroying the notes. That means the only light we had down there came from a harsh, omnidirectional battery-powered floodlight in the corner of the room. Long shadows were cast by this floodlight. Take the elevator down because am fat fuck. Make my way back into the vault. Harsh, blue-white light makes my shadow dance like a 50-foot man. Thoughts run wild. Tiptoe to the back stealthier than a ninja. We don't have those in the Jap exhibit. Open the box of lights when I feel a cold air brush over my wrists. Just freeze there, hands not moving and hair standing straight up. Suddenly, something clamps down on my fingers, like someone's trying to shake my hand. Don't even reach into the box, just grab the whole damn container and bolt. Hop over several boxes, running straight into the floodlights beam. My eyes are on fucking fire. Make it out of the concrete vault and into the main room, with the carpet. Warm, natural light from the ceiling now. Don't give a fuck if I'm still downstairs, I drop the box and breathe. Standing there for a whole fucking minute, staring into the dark abyss behind me to make sure nothing followed me out. Take one last deep breath. Stretch out my back. Bend over to pick up the box and I hear the elevator begin to move. Sounds like it's coming down from the top floor, where the party is. Owner must be doing damage control, and now she's checking up on me. Walk over to the shaft door with box and wait. Elevator chimes and the light glows bright. Door opens and my heart just fucking climbs into my mouth. The light is off inside the elevator. And, just when the door opens full wide, a huge gust of cold as fuck air blows past me. Don't even get in the elevator, nope the fuck up the stairs. Bolt over 2 flights to get to the party room. Change the light bulb and quit early, walk home. Never use that elevator again.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.